Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk in the southeast corner of Scotland. And of course, everybody knows that Scotland is the capital of literally everything in all dimensions and stuff. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well and has had a great weekend. Hang on, sorry, 1 second. I'm being distracted by some extraneous weird noise. Hang on. Sounds like cats fighting outside. That's what it is. Anyway, weird. It's rather, you probably can't hear it over the microphone, but to me, it's actually quite loud. So I have no idea what that is, but it's quite distracting. I'm sorry about that. It's quite distracting. Anyway, I can see that there is a change of the guard in the chat, inasmuch as Kyle was first in the door. For the first time, I think, ever. Which is impressive. Well done to Kyle. And Billy Morgan came in second 2 minutes later. And then we have MJ, that's Mike, over in the Philippines. And then we have Tony Stringer, who is off to bed and he's going to catch the replay. Thanks for dropping by, Tony. I appreciate it. Jeff Wood is here from Monk Seaton. Jeff, welcome, my friend. I'm glad you're here. And we've got Ron, a.k.a. Keyman, who is here. We got Dwayne as well. And we got Roger Beckett. And we got Don Oliver. We got Keith from Radio Tut Frumpet. And we got Spin 180 here so far, which is only 11 people. But that's okay. We can kind of start from there. And hopefully we'll pick up a few more people as we go, because we're only like 2 or 3 minutes into the show, and Dwayne is having his dinner, which is understandable because for you guys it's just after 6 p.m. in the central time area, so it's going to be a wee bit early for you guys. For me, it is 3 minutes past midnight. Yes, I do willfully and deliberately stay up late into the night so that I can do this show for you guys. So I hope that you find Sunday Night Live and also Songwriting Simplified on the Wednesday. I hope you find these useful and helpful. As I've said, there's a lot of stuff to come on this channel over the course of this year. So stick around, make sure you are subscribed, make sure that you have selected all notifications in the notifications thing, bell, whatever they call it these days, because you don't want to miss a thing this year on this channel, because I'm going to be bringing you all the very best of what is coming with Studio One this year. As we know now, anyway, that for Studio One 7 and on into the future, that we will have quarterly at least three feature drops, feature bundles added to Studio One every year. So that's kind of roughly quarterly, which is like way more than has ever been done before for Studio One. So it's going to get exciting round here. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff added to Studio One that we will go over, and we will I will make sure that you guys are fully educated on all of the new features that come over the course of this year, so that you can get to grips with it and get making music using the new features, including new instruments. So we've already had a new instrument so far this year in cinematic lights. I know a few people, quite a few people, actually had some considerable trouble trying to get cinematic lights installed because, and I'm going to hold my hands up here, and I'm going to admit some responsibility for this. Only me and Gregor actually covered what the new features are in Studio One 7.1. And both myself and Gregor completely omitted to give instructions on how perpetual license holders can get cinematic lights, even though it is totally available to them. And so both of us totally missed that. We didn't give it any instructions. And so I'm going to hold my hands up and say I'm responsible for my part in not doing that. However, if you go and check out the video that I made, my Studio One Pro 7.1 video, you will now see that there is a pinned post in the comments that gives all the correct instructions for you perpetual license holders to be able to get cinematic lights. So those are now there. So if any of you are still having trouble as a perpetual license holder of Studio One Pro 7 for getting cinematic lights, go check out the video and obviously watch the video, but also check out the instructions that I've put there in the pinned post, because they will help you get cinematic lights installed correctly. Because there were two procedures. I only really knew about one of them, and that is for subscribers to Studio One Pro Plus. That actually it's quite straightforward. But if you are a perpetual license holder, then it was a little bit tricky. What you had to do was you have to go into your My Presonus account, and then you have to click on products, and then you have to click on the Studio One Pro 7 product icon when you see that in your account. So you click on that, and there you will see, amongst all the stuff there, you will see cinematic lights, and it should have a claim product button underneath it. And you click on that. That claims the product, and then it is fully in your account and fully available. Then you go back to Studio One, you go to Studio One from the menu bar, and then you go to Studio One installation, and it should be there under the available downloads tab. And then you can properly install cinematic lights. And when you install it, make sure to install the sound set as well. Otherwise, you will have no sounds, and you will also not have any of the loops. The loops are great, by the way. And I didn't really cover those in my video, but I did cover them on the Songwriting Simplified show on Wednesday. So if you want to go and check those out, then they are there. If you want to see them again, then I can show you those again tonight. I don't have a problem kind of like going over some of the Studio One 7.1 features again tonight, because it's still pretty new, and I'm sure, you know, some of you will want to maybe go over things in a little bit more depth than I could in a 19 minutes and 7 seconds video. Because basically I was trying to get everything I could into that video in the shortest amount of time possible. So really I could only skim over what's there and what's what and how they work. Because I don't want to make those overview videos too long, because then people don't watch them all. They don't watch it all the way through. And so people then miss out on what is available there. So just to encourage you folks, when I do put out an overview video of any of the feature bundles that are yet to come, please do watch the video all the way through to the end to make sure that you get to see everything that I can show. There will be some things I can't show. For example, if there are things that are added that are Mac specific, I'm not going to be able to show those because I do everything on a PC. I do have a Mac. It's sat over there. You can probably just make out the keyboard sat over there. But I do have a Mac, but I don't make videos on my Mac because I can't make videos on the Mac. To be honest, I can barely run Studio One on that Mac because it's a bit old and it's a bit crap. So I do everything on the PC. So basically anything that is Mac specific, I will basically just describe in the video rather than be able to demonstrate. So I hope that you understand that it is kind of just what it is, really. All right, so we have a few people that have joined us. We've got Alps Media here as well. Alps Media is my wonderful partner for my 2 live streams, Sunday Night Live and Songwriting Simplified. And I want to thank Louis at Alps Media from the bottom of my heart. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for all of your help and assistance and support for these 2 shows over the last several years. You have been amazing, and I really value you, and I really value our partnership. So thank you very much for everything you do, Louis, and also for everything you do for this little community of people in helping supply them with Persona's products. That is awesome. And I'm sure that they appreciate it all too. And we got Dave from Aurora's Boring Alice as well, which is cool. He's here, and he says that he installed Cinematic. He says works well so far. A bit weird on the controls. Yeah, the controls actually are exactly the same as they are for Deep Flight 1 and for Lead Architect. Pretty much the same GUI for each of those instruments, but they all have different sounds. And so they are, in that sense, they are completely unique instruments, but they do have pretty much the same GUI. So once you know Deep Flight 1, the extended Deep Flight 1, that is, with, you know, the actual instrument rather than the sound set that comes for Presence. Once you know that, and you also know Lead Architect, then Cinematic Lights is going to be pretty much, in terms of how you use it, is going to be the same thing. You're going to be dealing with blending 3 different sound palettes in unique and creative ways, plus having access to some of the note effects as well, like repeater and quarter and those kind of things, and the arpeggiator as well. So having those that are separate note effects things that are available in the Instruments tab, having those actually built into those instruments, I think is a big bonus. I think it's a really good thing. So Just Bob is here as well. He says a recap would be cool. Okay, we can certainly do that. Let's see. Dave says, I always look at anything musically download as cautious and push the right buttons and set up the destinations. That's a very good thing to do. He says, I do like the woodwinds and brass stuff on the low end. Yeah, and actually the some of the upper woodwinds are very, very nice as well. They are really crystal clear samples. Like if you play particularly high up, you'll hear things like flutes and piccolos, which is nice. And then as you move down, you get some alto flutes and clarinets, which is also very nice. And then you get, you know, things like the bassoons, and you get bass clarinets as well down at the bottom end. And you can blend those with low brass like tenor horn, tuba, euphonium. Those are all there as well. So they're great. I don't know what orchestral, you know, how they sourced these orchestral sounds and then combined them with other sounds as well. I don't know where they sourced the orchestral sounds from, but it is really, really very, very good. All right, so if you guys want to see it, it would be remiss of me to not show it, wouldn't it? So why the heck not? I think we should. All right, so let's go over to Studio One and let's go take a little look at what it is and what it does. So let's go over here. And here it is. And as Dave correctly pointed out, the GUI is very similar to Lead Architect, as you can see over here. And there's the Deep Flight one extended. And as you can see, they all three have this kind of triangle thing in the middle. They all have this, and they all have this attack and release setting over here as well, and then a cutoff. And you can open all of this up, which is very, very cool. So you can open up this, and you can have access to the LFOs here, as well as modulation. You can also do a bit of bit crushing if you want to, and some distortion as well if you want that. And then there's gating, EQ, and panning. And then you can map all of these to different knobs, faders, controllers that you might have on your keyboard, like I have over here. Although I only have a modulation wheel, I don't have anything else that can control any of these other parameters. And then there's Aftertouch, which controls the pitch. And by the way, you'll notice I'm not playing the right sound. Why am I not playing the right sound here? Not sure why that's playing a piano. Oh, unless I have presence open. So let's maybe remove presence. There we go. Let's go back to cinematic lights. You notice as I press down a little bit harder, it affects the pitch. Now, if you don't want it to do that quite so much, you should be able to adjust this filter down a little bit. So now it shouldn't do it quite so much. I wonder if I can stick it right in the middle. Let's see what that does. Yeah, it doesn't do it nearly so much. And then, if I wanted to do it a lot, that's way too much. That sounds really quite artificial. So I'm thinking that I might just keep that. So it just does it just a little bit. And of course I can change this from pitch to something else. I could change it to the amp level or resonance or any of these other parameters if I wanted to. I'll leave the aftertouch on pitch for now, but yeah, you can totally change all of that. And then of course you can store this preset as you adjust it. So you will notice if I just drop this down for a second that we've got some woodwinds and some strings here. So if I go right over this way, we've got flutes there. And a piccolo on the top. So now we've got clarinets with a bassoon and a bass clarinet there as well. And then if I just shifty this across the other way. Now we'll just get strings. Sounds very, very nice. And then we've got this brass ensemble is probably one of my favorite sounds, actually. So that's one of my favorites, and of course you can turn these up, and you can adjust the bounce as well to get different sounds. So yeah, those are very nice. The woodwind ensemble is also very nice as well. Again, you can adjust the bounce of everything. Sounds very, very nice. And then you've got this one here. This is called Tremolo Racing. So that one's a lot of fun. And then you've got a bunch of repeated sounds as well. So these make use of the repeater. However, kind of jazzy you want to get. And there's loads of these. That could be useful in a kind of fusion setting. Try some other ones. What else do we have here? Bit of pizzicato maybe. Another one of those kind of fusion kind of sounds. Let's see, wood organics. Oh. A little bit of John Williams here. There we go. Getting into Michael Brecker territory there harmonically. But yeah, it's great. Are these all tied to your tempo setting? Yes, they are. So those repeater, these ones that use the repeater, these are tied to your tempo. Okay, but you don't have to have it tied to your tempo. If you turn off this sync button here, you can decide how fast it goes. But you might find sync is probably going to be the best way. And then unfortunately, one of the things I would like to see with this is to have a hold option here, so you can keep this little pattern looping. At the moment, you can't keep this pattern looping, which is a little bit unfortunate. So it basically just comes to an end. And that's it. So the way you re-trigger it is just by pressing the keys again. And you can change, what this is set to. At the moment it's set to, so I can set this to 16th notes. And I should be able to change the number of patterns in the number of steps in the pattern. At the moment there's only 7. See what happens if I set this to 16. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Let's back that back down to 8th notes again. So you basically get 2 bars now. So yeah, you can play with this quite a bit, and you can change the scale, and you can change some of the dynamics as well. So if you want like some of these to be, maybe these low notes need to be maybe a little bit quieter. The ones where the pitch goes down, make them a little bit quieter. You can do that. So that can be quite fun to play with. But yeah, so there you go. And then at the bottom here, I just close these folders. You get into this special effects one. And these just sound a little bit weird. Let's close that up. Why can't I close this? There we go. Let's turn off repeater. I don't want it on. That's quite a pretty sound. Let's go for this one. So if you want to get into your kind of late 1980s Alan Holdsworth style harmonic palette, then this is the way to do it with this particular sound. It's this is really great. I love this. So I'm sure I'm going to be using this in maybe the Halloween challenge later this year. I'm sure I'll use this for something for sure. Let's see. Bobby Booth is here. Hello, Bobby. Good to see you, bud. I hope you're okay, mate. Roger Beckett's here. He says it'd be nice to have a follow chords mode. It will follow the chord track. If you have the chord track enabled and you have that track set to following the chords, then it will follow the chord track. Because yeah, that's kind of how the chord track works. Let's see. Just Bob says that was fun. The riff is a basic. Okay. You guys are chatting. Okay, that's cool. But Bobby Booth is here. He says I made it, though thought I was going to miss the show. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm very glad you're here. Dave says, I don't think the repeater or arpeggio is that handy. However, I haven't gone that far as to running tempo as synced in Studio One. Probably can, I reckon, in as the VST is slave. Well, first of all, these are native instruments. They are not VSTs. As can be seen here, it says native. So if it was a VST, it would say VST2 or VST3. But these are PreSonus instruments, so they are native to Studio One. So they are not VSTs. It's our own format, our own plugin format. However, some of our plugins have been developed in a VST3 format and an AU format and an AAX format so that you can install them into DAWs that support those formats. And plugins that are available for that kind of thing, you will find them in the PreSonus Hub. So if you have downloaded and installed PreSonus Hub on your computer, then plugins that we make that you have in your account that are available in those formats, you will find that they populate inside PreSonus Hub. And when that happens, you can then use them in a third-party DAW such as Cubase or Logic or Reaper or Pro Tools or whatever your third-party DAW of choice might happen to be. But not all of them are available yet. For example, Cinematic Lights is brand spanking new. It is PreSonus only, not available in PreSonus Hub yet. But that may come later in the future. But yes, these, if they involve arpeggiator or repeater, then yes, you can have them synced to whatever tempo your song is, if you want them to be. But if you don't, then they won't be. Let's see. A record scratch is cool. Yeah, record scratch is cool. Just Bob says Cinematic Lights is shaping up to be a powerhouse. Can't wait to see where this goes. It really is. And to be honest, I'm really only touching the surface. I haven't touched the attack or the release. And I've not touched the cutoff. And really, I've hardly played with this aspect on any of them yet. Now, notice that you have different sounds assigned to each of these sides of the triangle. For this particular sound, we've got some underwater brass, singing machines, and grain windows. So let's listen to each of these individually. Now, that on its own might be spectacular for a Halloween song. For sure. Just to have that going all the way through in the background. So what's in the middle here? Actually, let's go on the other side first. Kind of a synthy kind of sound. Which kind of sounds quite nice, actually. But if we go to the bottom of the triangle, which is this one in the middle. Oh, another synthy kind of sound. Now we're back into Alan Holdsworth harmonic territory again. Mostly because I have just spent kind of most of Sunday afternoon listening to Alan Holdsworth. So I've got that kind of harmonic palette going around in my head, as I have done for most of this afternoon. But this instrument, Cinematic Lights, is perfect for, you know, whether you're wanting to do something orchestral but blend it with some weird sounds, and also like if you want to do something that's a little bit, you know, kind of atmospheric, spooky, scary, that kind of thing, as well as being able to do something that you could just use in totally a kind of jazz fusion setting. It's great for that as well, as you can see, just by blending the right kind of things in. So, you know, we could bias it towards, you know, kind of, I go for this corner here. This will give us a blend of the brass and the singing machines. So yeah, lots of fun with that particular sound, and like I said, there's like other weird and wonderful things here too. Lots of fun stuff that you can have on there, and you can combine this with Lead Architect if you want to. You can totally combine Deep Flight 1, Lead Architect, and Cinematic Lights into one combined instrument just by stacking them on the same track and using the combined instrument workflow. So let me kind of show you the potential that this has. So we got Cinematic Lights on this track here. Let's also dump this on here. Do you want to replace or combine? So we're going to combine. And now this will open up this instrument here. So let's go and edit lead architect, and let's go and grab something from here. Maybe let's, I'm just picking a sound at random here. And then what we can do is we can go back to our multi-instrument, if I can remember how to do that. How do I go back to my combine instrument? I've forgotten how I go back to my combine instrument. That's annoying. So I've just switched between the two, but I want to get back to the splitter that shows the combined instrument, and I can't remember how to do it. That's frustrating. No, that's not doing it. There we go. I just had to close that GUI. That's all I had to do. And let's change the color of this. No, let's not open the GUI. Let's change the damn color. Can I change the color? Yes. Change it to that. So let's change the balance of this so the lead architect is a little bit buried. And cinematic lights is not too buried either. Now what we can do is we can make it so that we have lead architect on the top and cinematic lights on the bottom. And of course, what we can do is we can transpose the cinematic lights up an octave. So you can totally just blend different things here. We could even add Deep Flight 1 onto this. So we could just add Deep Flight 1. Let's go grab a different sound. I'm just picking sounds at random here, guys. And let's maybe combine. Let's maybe make the Deep Flight 1 an octave below. So as you can see, you can have loads and loads of fun with these instruments. If you don't find Lead Architect in the Instruments tab, then you need to install it. Basically. It's available from Studio One installation. You should see that there. Because this one, lead architect, you didn't have to claim. I think it was a case of it was just available to you in your account. So it should be available in Studio One installation from this guy up here. And then for you, it should be in available downloads. Okay, I already have it installed, obviously. But that's where it should be available for you if you don't have either lead architect lead architect or cinematic lights. Remember, as I said at the start of the show, if you're a perpetual license holder, cinematic lights you have to claim in your account. So you have to go to your account, click on products, click on the Studio One Pro 7 product icon. You'll see it there, and it'll have a claim product button. You click that, and then once that has been claimed, it will be available to you in the Studio One installation dialog on available downloads, and then you should be good to go. So there, that's pretty much what you can do with these three instruments. You can combine these in a ton of different ways. You can pan them. You can use different note effects on different ones. So you could have an arpeggiator at the bottom. You could have a repeater in the middle. Whatever your heart desires. Plus, you could also you can put in a splitter in here. You can add all sorts of different things here. So you know, I've got UJam here, I've got Fab Filter. This Lawrence thing, by the way, is the Hangman thing that I showed ages ago. It's now available as an instrument, but it's really a game than an instrument. So you can add all sorts of instruments here, and then you can add in different note effects. So it's very, very powerful, this whole combining instruments thing, and this, by the way, if you didn't know, was introduced in Studio One 3. I think it was 3.2, the whole combining instruments thing. It might have been actually in 3.0. I don't quite remember. But yes, it's absolutely loads and loads of fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove these. So I'm just left with the cinematic lights. And I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back over here. JW is here. He says, good night, just passed by. Well, you know what? I'm very glad you're here. Thanks for dropping in. Let's see. Lead Architect, is that free as well? Yes, it is. If you are a Studio One Pro 7 perpetual license holder or subscriber, it is available to you for free. You can get it right now. Russell Harris says, Lead Architect comes with Studio One. That is correct. It most certainly does. Now, back not so long ago, it was only available to subscribers. Subscribers basically got the chance to try it out first, and then it was made available to everybody, which is where we're at now. So I hope that this has been a helpful little extra overview of the cinematic lights, and then combining those with pretty much any instrument. You can layer up some pretty cool sounds, actually, which I'm going to be experimenting with. And then playing them from my keyboard. If I can get my iwi working, I will even try and create some layered sounds and use my iwi to create some interesting melodies and harmonies and stuff with that. So Dave says, I like it. It doesn't push the CPU and it's pretty clean. Yes, it does not actually use up very much CPU at all. Just Bob says, banger of a show. Very informative tonight. Thank you. You're welcome, Bob. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it, because I know that, you know, you can't always get to my shows. So I appreciate it when you do drop in. It's very, very cool of you to do so. So we've got 5 minutes left If anybody has any other questions about 7.1 or about the cinematic lights or anything else to do with Studio One, get them in the chat just now, and I would be very happy to answer them. Because that's what this show is all about. I mean, it's great that I can kind of like do a little bit of an extra demonstration of something that I covered in the 7.1 video that I did. But really, this show is for your questions as much as it is for anything else. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything else being added here, but I'm going to go up and see just in case I missed something earlier. Old School Funk of Soul, that's my friend Mark down in England, says great presets. Yes, I think they are actually pretty good. You know what? Actually, interestingly enough, there was a little bit of a split audience as to whether they liked the lead architect sounds or not. Some people liked them. Some people thought, meh. I personally actually liked them quite a bit. Am I necessarily going to use them, you know, straight, unfiltered, unedited, unchanged? Probably not. I'm probably going to layer lead architect sounds with some other sounds to and blend them with other things rather than just using them on their own. Billy Morgan says, right after my show is done, it is the New Orleans Studio One meetup. So if you would like to join that, that will be starting in approximately 3 minutes time. Let's see. Can I reduce the console view of a group to hide the tracks in the console? You can hide anything in the console, whether they are group tracks or not. But here's the thing. If they are grouped tracks, what you do to one happens to the other. So if you are looking to hide anything in the console, bear in mind that these are channels, these are tracks. They are not the same thing, especially when it comes to virtual instruments. Because virtual instrument tracks contain no audio. Channels contain audio. Okay? Basically, the sound is sent from this guy to these channels, which is why when you try and mute something over here, it doesn't necessarily mute over here, and vice versa. And some people have thought in the past that that's a bug. It's not a bug. Tracks are not channels. Channels are not tracks, especially when it comes to MIDI. When it comes to MIDI, tracks have no audio. They are just note data. So no on, no off, and CC data and all of that. That's what these are. They are just containers for data, and those get converted into audio in the mixer. Now, if you want to hide anything, you can go over here, and you can just basically hide them. As you can see, I've got a couple of hidden channels here, and I can hide those. And I've got another cinematic lights there. But if I want to hide all of the impacts, I can hide all of those as well. But I can also keep all of these, and then I can just hide all of these because these are drums. Because this basically is my demo song, and so that was for demonstrating how to render the bus channels, which I have run out of time for showing if you wanted me to show any of that. But you just, you click on this guy here. This is the channel list. There's a similar one up here. This is the track list because tracks are not channels. But you can link the views, okay? So mine are not linked right now. But you can link the views, and you can do that by clicking on this guy and link visibility of track list and console, link expansion and visibility of folder tracks, auto expand channel, selected channel. You can do all of that from here. And then whatever you hide up here will be hidden up there. So if I now close the mixer, you now see all of those drum tracks reappear. And then if I go back over here, then I still want my effects channel, but I don't want those guys. And then once you're happy with what your view is, you can close that. So if you have grouped tracks organized in an actual group, which I don't have, which would be what this is. If you have groups here, then when you hide a group, the whole group hides, not just an individual track or channel from a group. The whole thing will hide. You can't just like keep one of your group channels available and everything else hidden. You either show the whole group or you hide the whole group. Okay, that's kind of how grouping works. Let's see. I'll be here for shows very soon, training some people to have full shifts. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Kyle says was watching on my TV for most of the show. Ah, okay. Anyway, we are at the end of the show. Let's go back over here. Yes, we are at the end of the show because it is now time for the New Orleans Studio One meetup to take place. So I am going to make way for that. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to everybody for your likes and your subscribes. If you have subscribed, I appreciate that a lot. And we peaked at, let's see, 28 people. That's pretty cool. I like that. So thank you very much, everybody. And I will see you on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified, where we will be getting back to just regular songwriting questions. So if you have questions about songwriting, lyric writing, arranging, composing, music theory, all of that kind of stuff, that is the show for you. So that will be Wednesday at the same time, 6 p.m. Central Time. So until then, I bid you all a very good night. Good night.